This video is in defense of the small-time whip makers because here lately I've been seeing some things that have really been irritating me. Some professional whip makers, not all I should add, some professional whip makers seem to have this weird idea that you can't make a decent whip without mentoring under somebody, which is simply not true. I know more whip makers that have not had any form of formal training that can make a very nice whip. Now, if you have the opportunity to learn under somebody, definitely take it. What I'm getting at is you don't need formal training to make a decent whip. And I also hear these professionals say that you can't make a good whip off of a YouTube tutorial. I say you can, as long as you get your basics down and then you build your own method off of those basics. That's what I ended up doing. And then you got these arrogant whip makers with the delusion that they are the only ones who can make a decent whip. I won't name names, but I can think of a couple people that have that mindset that they are the best and they try to talk down to other people. Well, here's the thing. No one's methods are right and no one's methods are wrong. So use binding or secure your whip directly in the vise or use a hook. I use a hook because that's what works for me. I don't bind because it's what works for me. It's all about doing what works for you, not some other big-time whip maker. This is for the pros and the hobby whip makers. Don't talk down about other people's work. And this should be common sense for two reasons. One, it's rude, and two, it makes you look like a jerk. If you're going to critique someone's work, then make sure that you give them helpful feedback on how they could fix their work. Too many times has that happened to me. They come onto my account and they say, "Oh, that heel knot's ugly." And then they just disappear, never to be heard from again. Last thing I want to address is copying others' work. To some point, you can make reproductions of a whip. One I've made many times is the Indiana Jones style whip. This one's a little different than the traditional because I just like the 7-inch handle. But you know, you got your 8-inch handle, 13 diamonds, 12 diamonds, your larger heel knot with a wrist loop. People recreate that all the time. For example, this is an 8-plat overlay. Not traditional, but just what I do for my cowhides so that it's a little more stronger with the wider strands. It would be completely ridiculous for me to say, because I used an 8-plat overlay, this is my own design on the indie whip and nobody else could use it because, well, it's my design. But do try to have your own ideas because that's what's going to make you unique in this industry. So remember, if you're self-taught, you can be just as good as the professional whip makers. You don't need any mentoring. So, with that being said, thank you for sticking to the end of the video, and have fun whip making and whip cracking.